clock has started. Lift off and the clock has started.
What's up, YouTube and everybody in YouTube land? Today is our first live. We welcome you to Word on the Street. And we got a lot going on in the news. Got a little bit to talk about. So you're going to have to work with me real quick while I set up some things. Let's see what I want to set up first. So let me get my text going here. Alright, so just bear with me 1 second. Let's see. Uh, 285. Alright. Alright, so alright. Let's see here. Alright, so we got a live call-in number there. This is gonna be our topic for the night. Will defunding, let's see. Alright. So we got a call-in number. I forgot. I'm gonna have to log in. I gotta go and log into my call-in number. But yeah, so there's a lot going on, and I think that now the the Father's Day, and there was a eclipse, a lunar eclipse, Saturday night. And I want to say that may have been the marking of the energy, shifting and changing. And the reason why is because there's been a big a big buildup in momentum, where the Black Lives Matter movement has been getting a lot of traction, and a lot of people have been standing behind this Black Lives Matter movement, the BLM movement, and it really hasn't had a real, definite uh, identity or body, I should say, because no one has really said exactly what BLM is. Of course, Black Lives Matter, but you have a lot of European people that are representing the BLM. So right now, BLM, it really doesn't have a body to take on, an identity just yet. So it's interesting watching that and just seeing people just out in the street, just protesting, and not really. I don't really understand what they're protesting or why they're protesting. A lot of people are saying Black Lives Matter, and the George Floyd thing is really kind of what's drawing people out. But this is something that I feel people have been wanting to do for a while, just because the mental anguish they've been building up to this point. Excuse me. People are wanting to change, but they don't know how they want the change to come and where they want the change to come from. They just want to change. That's dangerous though, because a change can come and it can look good, at first, at first sight, but that change could lead you down a very dangerous path that may not be recognizable, once you start to head in the direction that change is carrying you. And, we've seen, numerous, the latest is the civil rights movement, the Martin Luther King movement, the integration of, blacks and whites. Once they integrated, blacks lost their identity. For a long time, blacks had the identity that they were standing strong, and their identity was very noticeable, to the naked eye of America. And now that's been, real watered down. You can't really tell what being black is all about anymore. Because honestly, as messed up as it seems, really, only thing black people want to do is, and I've said this before, they just want to grow dreads and stand in line to buy Air Jordans. I know, it's messed up for me to say that, but it's true, man. Um, that's pretty much all that we can be accredited for these days. Or maybe if you want to, say that, write and rap, which is, if you want to consider that. Anyway, let me get ready to get my lines available so that we can get the call in going. Let's see here. Okay. Sorry if you can hear my dogs in the background sleeping, they snoring. I can hear them. You may not be able to, but if you can, my apologies. So let's see. That's not what I'm looking for. All right. Let's see. While I'm doing that, let's see if I can get up to speed with something here. Wait a minute. and subscriptions. I don't know why I'm not able to log in just yet. So hold on one second. Maybe I need to let's do this. While I'm thinking about it, let me add this. Let me just so if anyone comes into the live, they know who they talking to. Looks like we got maybe 2 people watching right now. It's first live, so I'm not expecting a lot of people anyway. So it's giving me a little bit of a hard time to get the call-in line up, but we will get it. Just give me 1 second momentarily, and we will bring it up. All right, now. So as we was talking about earlier, how the energy basically that blacks were building up has basically been killed with the event that took place on Sunday. If you haven't heard, there's been an update, so you may have heard, but may have not heard the update. There were reportedly at first there were 3 people that lost their lives on Sunday due to some random act of undisciplinary individual with a firearm in their hand, so to speak. So the initial report said that there was 3. From what I've been told, that report got pushed up to 5. And the situation is just, it's terrible, man. It's terrible that something like that was going good for people, and something for people to be able to see, um, just to see people gathered, having a good time, no conflicts, no problems, you know what I'm saying? No issues at all. And then for it to all, end so quickly like that by someone pulling out a gun and, making people unexpectedly lose their lives. And it's not as if people, lose their lives and they're expected to lose it. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, for people to lose their lives in that, that type of way unexpectedly is just is terrible, man. You know what I mean? And the narrative is going to slowly start to change. Um, I was speaking with someone earlier and being in conversation. They kind of alluded to the fact that the Black Lives Matter movement is going to now get watered down back into the All Lives Matter because of the way that this happened. People are going to say, look at the, look at the way that they, conduct themselves whenever they gather in mass. Whenever they gather in mass, um, you always have some type of some type of violent act that goes on. Everyone that comes into the black community likes to hang around, because there's a lot of fun, associated with being amongst the black community. But at the same time, there's a lot of danger that goes right along with that fun. And, a lot of people like to come and hang around the black community, but they don't want to hang around, when the danger starts. And that, in so many words, is just a part of, just a part of that culture, and something that's going to be absorbed if you're around it. It's kind of like if you're around, something that stinks. It's only going to be a matter of time before you smell it. Pretty much. Let's see. Well. Let's see here. All right. So yeah, once that event happened the other day, um, it kind of really put a hard damper on the energy that was building up. Because it almost seems like, now I'm not saying that for sure, but it almost seemed like, and we know that, when these things go on like this, we know that that people in higher places let events go on to a certain extent. And whenever the feeling comes that, hey, we're gonna shut this down because you're getting a little too strong. You're poking your chest out a little too much, and you think you okay. So it almost seemed like as if the momentum that was being was being expressed, that we were on the verge of making a change. It really seemed that way. But when something like this happens, and then that kind of just basically just cancels it out. So I've heard different stories of people saying that something that just isn't right because black people don't shoot into a crowd of people. And with something like that happening, with somebody just taking off and shooting into a crowd of people like that, it makes you wonder: was that an act that someone black would have done? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, you have all type of things that that people involve themselves in, and people feel like, well, you know what? I don't care who around. When this situation jumped off between me and this person, it was so disrespectful that I feel like I'm finna violate this person right here in front of everybody. I don't care who sees it because I want everybody to know that he violated me. So if I have to violate him in front of everybody and somebody else get violated in the middle of me violating him, then so what? So be it. That's pretty much the way the way things are. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, one moment. All right. All right. Pause for a short intermission. Hold on one second.
Lift off and the clock has started.
All right, we back. Sorry for the short intermission. Let's see here. Uh, did we not make a connection? It doesn't look like we did. Wow. All right. So let's see. So that has 3 missed calls, but all right. So I don't know if anybody has noticed, but they had a lot of police shows that are have gone, like they've been canceled, right? Like I seen Cops has been taken off the air. I'm not sure if First 48 has been taken off the air. They had First 48 running like marathons every Monday and Tuesday. They would come on at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they would go off maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. They've kind of canceled those now. I'm not seeing those running anymore. I know for sure that they took live PD off. They said A&E didn't want to. I guess they didn't want to carry the shows anymore, which is very interesting because live PD just has to do with the police. They just pulling people over. Basically, it was just like a updated version of Cops, and for them to take that off now, I really don't understand if that's maybe a contract that ended, or I don't really understand how what's going on now in the media could have anything to do with putting that on TV, but I guess maybe so. Let's see. There's a video out of this girl. I wish I could get you guys to see it, but there's a woman that she's basically saying how well, she's calling people the N word and saying how the N word should be lucky because we were allowing you to not be slaves anymore. So we should just shut up and do what we're told and stop tearing up property that doesn't belong to us. Is what this white girl says, man. It's very interesting. You can find it on. If you go to Dante Gayton's page on Facebook, you can find that video. Just so many different things that are going on, man. This race relations, as they say, have not improved any in the country. Within the last 50 years, 60 years, it doesn't seem like they're going to improve because when you seem like you're taking a step forward, there's always something that makes makes that step go backwards in some kind of way. 19-year-old arrested for Tuesday homicide. My man, if he's 19, damn, he done had a rough life because he looks a lot older than 19. But yeah, you got race relations that are they're so intense at times in history to where you have acts of violence where people are killing each other and just doing senseless acts of just murder and maim on people. And I don't see that ending no matter where we end up in in technology. Whether technology carries us in a direction where there'll be cameras on every corner that sees every single crime and every single thing, like on the Minority Report. It can detect crime before it even happens. I don't feel that there will ever be a time, no matter where we're at in in the history of technology, to where you're not going to have people that are doing crime. Whether it be cyber crime or whether it be people that are doing crime physically to other people, because there's always going to be a have and a have not. You're always going to have that. Someone is going to have and someone is not going to have. And when you have the element of someone not having, there's always going to be that struggle of trying to play the catch-up man. And even if he doesn't, have the qualifications to be in a position, he's still going to want to assume that position just because. It's just a position to assume. And it's funny because you can have a job, and I didn't really understand this at a younger age, but now at an older age, I realized you can have a job where you could be working as a higher name person in the company, but be making less money. And the whole point of having status in somewhere is, so that you can live more financially comfortable. I don't need to be the president of a company or the supervisor of a company if I can't live comfortably. I need to be able to live comfortably. I can't be stressed out trying to come in and manage your company. And then, you're paying the other workers and employees, they get paid. I mean, they get paid very good. And my pay is not very good. That's not going to leave me to be very happy. And, you get things like people stealing from your company, which is a basic display and an extension of what we're seeing now, when you have people who are out in the streets looting and tearing up shops, because in their life and their lifestyle, they haven't had anything of substance that they can hold on to, because they don't have a job that will, pay them to where they feel like, okay, I shouldn't do this because I have something to lose. If I don't have a job that's going to pay me, I don't have anything to lose, then, who cares what? I'll go tear something up if I get locked up today, and if I get out by the weekend, it'll just give me something to laugh about with my buddies when we hanging around the front porch or whatever. So the race relations now, the way the events that have been going on in the last, I would say probably 3 weeks, George Floyd, it's almost like the Brooks guy down in Atlanta. When they're able to keep these things going in the news so much, they ran coronavirus down our throat for 2 months. Every time you turn on the news, only thing you could see was coronavirus. And now the headlines have, skipped over from coronavirus into, the BLM, the Black Lives Matter. And that's slowly drifting over into, black on black crime. Is where they're going to try to lead this into. So, with the black on black crime, the question, comes then is, which is the name of tonight's show, is, will defunding the police, will that increase or improve Race relations. If we do so happen to defund the police, will race relations increase? It's a good question because, the other day, what happened the other day, if there were no police officers to come to the aid of the people there, then, who was going to, provide some type of safety and security? Because when the people are amongst the people and you have the people start to create an unsafe environment for the people, then the people will start to look for an outside source for safety, and that can be very detrimental if you're not harnessing energy the way it should be harnessed in a certain kind of way. Let's see here. I have no. Let's see here. Y'all excuse me, I know it's very unorganized here. This is the first live and we're trying to get it together. Alright. Alright. So yeah, if we defund the police, I would say that race relations would probably improve, because if I have to stay over here where I'm at, because I know that if I go over here fucking around, that these people over here are armed and they're going to defend where they are at, then I'm not going to be quick to go over there. Okay? When I can go over here and play around and then I can call the police, if somebody come try to get some get back, then, then that kind of puts a buffer zone between people when they, dealing in race relations. But if I know that if I go across town and those folks across town, they're going to try to bust my ass if I come over there playing, then I'm not going to be so quick to run across town and throw rocks through people's windows and, light crosses on fire in people's front yard and stuff like that. I'm not going to be so quick to do that when I know that those people violently and dangerously will defend their property and their land with no one to answer to, no consequences or anything. If I can't call the police and tell the police, hey man, they hit me, come get them, then a lot of times, white people will feel the need to let me take a step back. That makes me think of a point of history. Is history being told in the way that we as people are getting a very good and thorough understanding of history? Because if in history you had a lot of blacks, not just I know now that in the media, Tulsa, Oklahoma is what everybody wants to turn to right now when they're in an argument with someone of European descent. and that European person is making them feel, inferior. The first thing that black people are wanting to do now is run to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oh, Tulsa, Oklahoma, we had XYZ. Black people are great. Look what we did. Okay, and that's to be complimented, but that's not to be overly complimented, because one thing that that we didn't do in Tulsa, Oklahoma was to protect the interests, which was the economics and the business of the people. That there was no way for us to protect that. And being in this country, as much leeway as we think that we making, when you go back and you look at things like that and you realize that as much leeway as you think that you're making, you have situations like this where it just shows you at a loss. You on a battlefield and you don't have no weapons. You in the middle of a battlefield and you have no weapons. You're just standing there. And whenever someone feels like they want to come and knock you upside the head with whatever weapon that they have, basically, black people are just cannon fire standing there, waiting to be taken out. That's hard to deal with, but that's just the reality of it. So, Tulsa, Oklahoma is where everybody is wanting to turn to now and say, look, we were great right here in time, but was there a point in U.S. history where you had whites that were scared to, and I'm gonna have to answer that for myself, because I remember a time, late 80s, early 90s, even in the late 90s, early 2000s, where you had neighborhoods before the the gentrification process came about. You had neighborhoods where people, you had to know somebody pretty much. You can't just come up in here. And if you was white, oh my God, pretty much if you were white and you went into some of these neighborhoods, that was basically their notification that you are out of bounds. You have no business here. And someone had to verify for you that, oh, that's my people. He here to buy XYZ. Because if not, the mentality of black people then, coming from a place of poverty was it's snatch whatever that's loose and it's mine. If I can get it in my hands, if I can snatch it from you and get it in my possession, then it's no longer yours, it's mine. And it's mine until I feel like I don't want it no more. Then you can have it back if it's in a condition to be used once I give it back, pretty much. So the race relations with, I guess you can call them super soldiers now. We should call them super soldiers now, because a lot of these police officers, some of the younger ones, they're coming in and they're learning the ways of the old. But then you have some that are super duper police officers, and they carry their job to a point to where it's almost like, please, please, please give me a reason so I can bust you upside your head. And a lot of people need to understand that when you out in the field, or when you outside, should I say, shout out to Hot Boy Shack, when you outside, and you are on the battlefield of society, because that's what society is here in America. It is a battlefield. And just know that a lot of Europeans are basically the messenger for the people who are on each side of the battlefield amongst this battle. A lot of Europeans are the messenger. They come in to basically supervise the battlefield, see who is needing to be reported for a good spanking, and be discipline, for not living up to the standard code of what European feels the degradation, the degradation of a black man should be. That's a very interesting, a very interesting point, and inside of that statement. And the reason being is because, I mean, you if you dissect it enough, then you play the video back, you'll get it. But if we say we have no more money for the police are going to have to start funding themselves. Are you ready to see a police officer that gets paid $8 an hour? I mean, good God Almighty. I mean, a police officer gets paid $13 an hour now, or $14 an hour, however much they get paid now. But if you got police officers out here and they're willing to go to the extent to shoot and kill somebody at $13 an hour, I mean, you pay them $8 an hour. I mean, you're going to have bodies dropping all over the place like flies. Man, I mean, serious business. One thing I forgot. Let's see here. Where's my timer at? All right. All right. So I got my timer to count down. So let's talk about Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves is going to be the first man to ever become a sheriff. I shouldn't say ever, but Bass Reeves is the first man to become a black sheriff in America. If anyone out there has read his book, it talks about in his book how Bass Reeves went out and he was chasing down his family members, and one of his family members, one of his cousins or something, he brought back because the white man had a bounty out on him, and Bass Reeves, which in my opinion is a traitor, a sellout. A lot of people praise him for being the first black sheriff in the United States, or being part of that fraternal order, should I say. The fraternal order, the fraternal order that he was a part of, that he was awarded the privilege of going out and hunting people down. And this is in my opinion, this is a form of being a traitor and a sellout. If you go back and you watch the video from last week with Brooks, when the police officer shot Brooks in the back, and then they were doing all the talking and stuff at the end, and he asked him about the blood on his elbow. He asked the black guy about the blood on his elbow. Go back and look at that video and look at that that police officer's face reaction when he's asked by that officer, "Is this blood on me? I wonder, is it his blood or is it my blood?" And how that black police officer looked at him. And then think about Bass Reeves when you look at his face. When I say Bass Reeves was a sellout, because you were going and catching your family members in the name of Mr. Charlie. Go back and observe that. I mean, because that was a real, when I seen it, at first, when I first seen it, it kind of like, it rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't really like hone in on that. But then when I went back and watched the video a couple more times after that, and I kind of honed in on how just his whole body language. You know, my man body language was just so disgusted with the fact that he was a police officer right now, and in my mind, I'm looking at him saying that nigga can't wait to get back, you know, to whatever neighborhood he hangs in, or whatever, you know, people that accept him back as a police officer. That nigga can't wait to get back and talk shit about the police department, as if he's not a part of it with, you know, with his homeboys or whatever. You know how niggas do. Yeah, man, I can't believe he shot him, man. Yeah, man, that's why I be telling them, man, us as police officers, we got to do this. Man, listen, if you a police officer and you a black man, there is no you on this side. But when you're a police officer, you're a police officer. That comes with certain criteria. And once we go through the different levels of that criteria calls for you to not be lenient on the public in any type of way, no matter if it's friend or foe. Now, every now and again, as they call them, good cops, you know what I'm saying, let people off. And, you know, I've had it happen to me before, you know, get pulled over by the police. They, you know, they say you were doing whatever, and you say, hey, man, look, just keep going about your business. But that doesn't necessarily mean I got to feel like that's a good cop because he done that. That doesn't necessarily mean that. Maybe he just didn't feel like being bothered at the time. So I don't fall into that. My time is at 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So today is the 24th. Is it the 24th? What's today's date? Let's see. Today is the 23rd. So that pretty much is that ends the live for this, you know, this session. You know, we putting lighters up for those who passed away. It's really sad, you know what I'm saying, that this situation happened like this. And you know, I'm pretty sure that the candlelight visual for those that lost their lives on Sunday, will be soon. And we'll try to get you, we'll try to get you guys some footage at the candlelight visual. Until next time, I'm Mr. Burn One. Y'all don't lighten up, tighten up.